Hello and welcome to Issues and Insights, the show that keeps you up to date on all the great things going on in our community. I'm your host, Kendra Scott, and we're thrilled that you tuned in today. As you know, we are blessed to live in a military community. Fort Knox is obviously home to world-famous landmarks, several key commands, some very unique special events, and beautiful terrain. It has an incredible history and, of course, a very bright future. Fort Knox, of course, is most importantly about the soldiers and the families that reside there, not to mention what they do for our nation. Most of us do have a connection with Fort Knox in one form or another, and we know the importance of taking care of those who take care of us. One of those organizations committed to taking care of our soldiers and families is AUSA. And today we're honored to have with us the Fort Knox chapter president, Major General Retired Troy Koch, to share with us about AUSA and the great work that they do. Welcome.
Well, good morning, Kendra.
Good morning. I feel like saying, "Hooah!"
Hooah!
There we go.
There you go.
There it is. There it is. That's what AUSA is all about.
Absolutely.
So we're just going to chat a little bit today about the organization. But first things first, what people need to know, what does the acronym AUSA stand for and what is the mission?
So the acronym stands for Association of United States Army. And AUSA, since we'll use the acronyms, and we're not going to say that every single time, but you know, we're a private, nonprofit organization, educational organization that supports the total Army. Total Army being the active Army, the Army Reserve, Army National Guard, the civilians that work for our Army, all of our retirees, and especially our families. That's amazing, because I don't think people realize the gambit that it is. It's reservists, National Guard, it's everybody. Correct. It's really a community effort. You know, so many times when I was in uniform, people would say, "Hey, thank you for what you're doing." And yes, that means a lot, but there's a lot more that goes to it when you look at what an Army community is. And so what AUSA, does is, one, we educate the public, educate through different programs that we sponsor, both from a local and then a national level. There's great programs that you can get on, through leadership programs and stuff, with webinars and hear senior leaders and hear issues and problems that face, not just our Army, but our nation. So that's one thing that our organization does. Another real important part that AUSA does is that we inform. And so, there are a lot of things that I as a soldier can do, and there's a lot of things that I can't do. There's a lot of things that, again, I support our Constitution, I support, our leadership and so on. But there are, when it comes to budgetary issues, different types of concerns, there's sometimes that our association will go in and again, we will talk to members of the Congress and we will talk to them in a way that, just like what we're talking here today, because there's not the repercussions over being, the difference between a professional soldier and what we can say and what we can't. Sure, you're the voice for the soldiers and again, we have to think about it. They're busy defending our nation, doing their job. They don't have time to maybe contact and be that voice on Capitol Hill, where when you have an association literally of thousands of people, that's a much more powerful, stronger voice. Absolutely. And then we also connect. So when we talk about the connection, we try to connect the public, whether you've ever been in uniform or you've not, or you have been in uniform, but try to connect that public with what the Army is. That total aspect of what the Army does, what we stand for, what we support, and there's a lot of misnomers too, and I think a lot of people say, well, why do you need to do that? I mean, everybody talks about the Army, or everybody understands about what our military is, and what I found is that, when less than 1% serve, in America, there is an enormous disconnect between what's real and what's not. Our Army isn't a game that you get on and we don't go through and shoot up everything we see, and And then there's a lot of other misnomers too, that, you know, if I join our Army, you know, that I'm gonna be in the front combat lines, you know, in a foxhole, because you see World War II.
Yeah, think of the movies.
You know, and that's just not what our Army's about.
So tell us a little bit about the brief history of the Fort Knox chapter of AUSA.
So AUSA was actually formed in 1950. And the reason why I say that is because the Fort Knox chapter was actually formed in 1957.
Oh, not long.
So we've been around for a long time supporting our community here at Fort Knox. And, you know, Kendra, you know as much as I do how much change Fort Knox has gone in the time that I've been here since 2006 is when myself and Sarah moved here. You know, I took command of the 8th Battalion Flying Tigers.
Yeah.
What a great command. But, you know, even before that, you know, we went through the armor school change, but, you know, and then we lost our infantry brigade, and now we're standing up different headquarters, you know, 5th Corps, and HRC has moved in, and, you know, so Fort Knox is, I mean, if you want to say shifted many different times. So just imagine going back to 1950 and you know, looking at the history from that, and AUSA has been there the whole time supporting it.
And that's amazing. And it's always been that community-driven support.
Yes.
For the installation. And you're right, it has changed and morphed so many different ways, and I'm sure the folks that started it back in 1957 would be amazed at what Fort Knox looks like in today's day and age.
Absolutely. You know, and another neat part about AUSA when we talk about our chapter's history is not everybody that has been a president, has been members, and very extremely active members, have all been in the military. Oh, that's true. You know, some of our presidents were industrial leaders in the community. So it's again, I think the requirement, you know, to be in AUSA, if there's any requirement, it's loving our soldiers, it's loving our Army and supporting our nation and our cause. And that's the bottom line, and I love that. That's what the foundation has been for the success all these years. Absolutely. We'll talk a little bit about the membership, and like you just said, there aren't no strict requirements, so what does it take to become a member, and the fees involved, or what, do you have to have a connection, like you said, to the military? Well, again, you don't have to be in the military, you don't have to actually even be associated with anybody in the military. If you have a love for soldiers, I mean, that's really what this is about our, you know, our military in general. But, you know, for $2 a month, you can actually be a member of AUSA. And, you know, every dollar that we pull in, you know, through membership, and then we also have corporate members and industrial members and so on. But all that money goes back to the community, goes back to the soldiers. So it's not like we're making a profit. Right. We make donations and different you know, financial obligations to organizations that support our soldiers and what they do within our community. So it all goes back. Your dollar that you put in, those $2 per month, it goes back into the organization supporting our Army and our Army's soldiers. And that's what's great, because there is no paid staff. Everyone is a volunteer, and literally you work very hard to raise lots of money, and you give all those dollars back. Right. Which is incredible. Now there is a difference between, you know, if I'm a lower enlisted soldier and I get in, I mean, I think it's $10 for $20 for 2 years, is it? Yeah, that's amazing. I mean, you can't get, I mean, that's a tank of gas. Right. You know, you can't buy a Big Mac meal for $2. And then $40 for a senior NCO officers and stuff of that nature. Great. And I know there's even a lifetime membership, which is fantastic. There is. Yeah. And I happen to be a lifetime member, and it was a great decision, again, supporting, you know, our organization, and that's kind of, you know, I got into AUSA. Actually, Mr. Gene Gutenkopf, who we'll talk about a little bit later, great recruiter. He is. And he's the best. Gene got me involved with our chapter here when I think it was when I commanded the Aviation Command over on Fort Knox in 2000. I think it was about 2012. And a lot of people just don't understand what our military is about, what our Army is about, what a lot of our problems are. And so this is was a great opportunity to be able to go through that portion and give back in another way.
That's great. And there's so many benefits to being an AUSA member. So will you talk a little bit about that and what members do receive in exchange for their, not just for the goodwill that they're doing and knowing they're supporting our soldiers, but there's always a great return on investment.
Yeah, so we're talking about return on investment. I think that's actually pretty important. And I was absolutely amazed when you get into, so one of the things that AUSA does is it ties together with other companies, and there's a, I don't think we have enough time to go through them all.
Right.
But you know, organizations like companies like Office Depot, great discounts. If you're a membership, you give your membership number, and then they go ahead and they give you, I mean, enormous discounts.
That's cool.
UPS, your pick up from your house. Again, another great discount. Rental cars, hotels. But when you become a member, you'll get an actual book over with all those discounts. You know, the different companies that you can go into. It was phenomenal. I showed my wife, and she goes, "Oh, now I can go shopping." Right.
And believe me, I pull it out just about everywhere I go. I'm like, I'm an AUSA member. Hey, I get my discount. So you'd be amazed how many places do that and support that, which is great. Plus, I love getting my newsletter and the magazine. I'm one of those people. I love to read all that stuff and know what's going on.
Yeah, and I give you a copy of the newsletter. And now the newsletter, instead of on a hard form, it comes out through the internet to your email address every month. And again, very informative and really keeps you connected.
It really does, because it shows you not what only is going on at our local chapter, but across the Army.
Right.
And as we all know, the Army really is just one big family. And so it's great to see faces that you know or don't know, or just to hear what's going on in Alaska or in Texas or whatever.
Right.
And it's amazing. And then also to tout what we're doing right here in our local community. So you really do feel like you're a part of that bigger picture. In the Army, you're not just getting that little snippet that you see on the news of Army Secretary said this and this. No, you get the real story when you get the magazine.
Yeah, and you have a connection to, again, when we talk about retirees, a lot of the members in our organization are retirees, and some of them are, business owners. So the reason why I say that is because it's networking, and a lot of jobs on the outside is about networking. How do you move up? You know, suit up, move up, show up.
Oh, I like that.
You know, it's about that connection. People get to know you. You get to talk to people with experience instead of just coming from a blind side. So
that's true. Yeah, and talk a little bit about the number of members in the Fort Knox chapter. It's not just a handful.
It's not. We have about 2,000 members.
That's amazing. And like you said, it's individuals, it's businesses, it's corporations.
That's individual membership. Now, from a corporate membership side, I don't have the exact number, but a lot of the businesses in our community are members. And again, their membership gets their employees access to those benefits too that an individual would get.
Yeah, and we know that Gene Gudenkauf, again, is the man of...
He is the man of the man.
And he is the man of the man. He will recruit and he will get those members. And, I mean, as we know, there are members that have been a part of AUSA since the beginning. So there are some 50-year members and 30 and 40-plus-year members. So that just shows you how devoted and committed folks are to the cause.
Absolutely.
That's great. And Gene keeps them in the loop. He makes sure.
Oh.
He's like, once you're a member, you're always a member.
Yes.
If it's left up to Gene. So we'll talk about some of the programs and initiatives that AUSA has, because there's a lot, obviously, but there's lots of benefits and things that you do for the families and soldiers at Fort Knox. So talk about some of those programs.
Yeah, so one of the, it's not one of the things, but we recognize soldiers for excellence. And so, and I think it's important. And that's, one of the ways that we start trying to tie people into, this organization, professional organization. I was always taught as a young lieutenant that, we support our organizations, professional organizations. It's a part of being a professional. And so we give awards out to soldiers that graduate from the USREC United States Army Reserve Recruiting Command, that graduate from their recruiting schools, and all the soldiers that are top on their list, we give them an award, coin. Again, recognize excellence. We do that about 120 times a year.
Just 120 times.
Yeah, just 120 times a year. We also have ROTC. So all the ROTC graduations that we have during the summer, and you know as well as I do, I mean, there's this mass input of soldiers, and the reason why I really like those soldiers is they're young, and they're impressionable, and a lot of times it's the first time they've ever been away from home. And,
wow.
And so, again, another great opportunity for our organization to say thank you and to show them what the Army is about. And we go ahead and we recognize the top-notch soldiers that graduate in each one of those classes, and we do that about 20 times a year.
Yep, at least.
Then we have the Army Reserve Training course that we do another 40 graduations on that. So we're very involved with that. We also do a lot of donations to organizations that support the Army and the community, specifically if they're supporting soldiers.
Right.
So when you look at Kentucky Regional Development Alliance, we support them.
Oh, yeah.
Obviously very, very involved in the Fort Knox area, taking care, again, soldiers, soldier benefits, and so on. So organizations like yours, and the community chambers of commerce, and you know, again, what we try to do is tie together and say, okay, so what is this organization? It's not just about giving away money. It's about how are they tied together with supporting the soldiers.
That's awesome. And I know great support to our JROTC programs in our high schools.
Absolutely.
And really exposing those young students to AUSA and the Army and building them up. So yeah, our local community really benefits. Project graduations and all those type of things. And
then all the ceremonies and other things that our community does, we give representation to support those memorials.
And we can't forget that every year you send soldiers to Washington, D.C. to participate in the huge AUSA Expo. I mean, I've only been once, and it was mind-blowing.
Absolutely, and that is mind-blowing.
Yeah. And for the young soldiers that get to go, it's a once-in-a-lifetime experience. So I found some of them had never been to our nation's capital, much less been in an expo with 500 different vendors, and getting a chance to see four-star generals and go to professional development workshops, and just the opportunities are endless. And again, they earn their way there, but the experience is just priceless.
Yes, and so we do that. You know, that's another great way to tie into AUSA. You know, I know one of the things we talked about is, you know, how do I get, how can I get involved with USAA? And so some of the things we do is we have a luncheon for the Army Reserve birthday in April. Also, we do a golf scramble, which is a lot of fun for everybody. We have about 18 to 20 teams. During that, and that's normally in June. We do the Army birthday in June, another luncheon, and then of course our big convention in October. And that, if you've never been to that convention, it is phenomenal. I mean, there is, if you can think of industry tying into our Army and all the stuff that they're developing, is just it's just mind-blowing.
It is. It's the latest and greatest, and stuff you've never even thought of that somebody else has thought of, and they've got it there and they're demonstrating it, and you're just like, wow. I mean, mind-blowing. You
know, and not only do you get the industry tie-in, then as you were saying, what our primary core is educate. And so all the professional leaders that are doing professional seminars and cross discussions over, you know, the top subjects of our time, you know, what the Army is going through. So again, a great opportunity to go in and grip and grin and shake hands and everybody, you know, I mean, you can be a private and and be shaking the hand of a general officer, and you know, I mean, that's what it's about. It's about connecting.
And there are thousands of people from all around the world. It is an international conference and expo. So that was, again, mind-blowing to me. I didn't know what to expect, but just that opportunity to meet and see people from around the world, all knowing that you're there for the same cause, was fantastic. And then there was also that opportunity to meet with our congressional leaders, to speak with them. And again, that may not happen for your average, everyday run-of-the-mill soldier when they're here at Fort Knox, but they get to go to D.C. and shake the hand of their congressman, take a tour of the Capitol, and really know, wow, this is what it's all about.
And we try to, again, from AUSA, we sponsor the Soldier of the Year, the NCO of the Year. So we try to take, we normally try to take about 4 different people from AUSA, and we pay their way to go to that convention. Again, it's just a phenomenal opportunity for young men or women to do that.
It really is. It's life-changing. So, well, let's turn the tables a little bit and talk about you.
Okay.
Because you are the president of the Fort Knox chapter. So we know you wanted to get involved because obviously you love soldiers.
Right.
And have lived the life. But talk a little bit about some of your goals and your plans in your role as chapter president.
Yeah. So one of the things that I look at organizations is that, you know, how do you make it fun? One of my mottos or sayings that I used to always ask my soldiers or enforce my soldiers, you know, if we're not having a good time doing what we're doing, then we're probably doing something wrong.
Okay.
Because, you know, you can work hard and you can be professional, but if you're not enjoying what you're doing, then we're probably missing something. And I think in an organization like AUSA, I think that's something we need to look at too. You know, how do we get more membership involvement? You know, it's not just about, you know, officers, us meeting once a month, which we do, but it's how do we tie together, you know, our members that then also tie together to the community. So that's the interconnection that I'm looking for. Unfortunately, with our times with COVID-19 and not being able to meet in those, some of those, you know, the ideas are there, but we're waiting for some of the ability to do the events will come later on. The other thing I'd like to do too is to look at more different ways that we can do fundraisers. Right now our largest and biggest fundraiser is the golf scramble that we have in June. But I'd like to have some other ones. Again, it's how do we tie our community together. So all the events that I'm looking at, it's about pulling the community. Again, what AUSA is doing, again, educating, communicating, connecting, you know, all those aspects of our organization come together when we create those types of events.
I love that. And how can folks get involved? Is it easy just to become a part of AUSA?
Hey, the only requirement to become a member of AUSA is love soldiers.
I love that.
Love our Army, you know, really. I mean, that's what it really comes down to. So anybody that's, you know, wanting to be involved, you know, you can go to, it's actually pretty easy. You can go to ausa.org, or you can go to our local chapter website, which is fortknoxausa.com. And then I believe we're going to post our recruiting officer, Mr. Gene Gutenkoff, who we talked about. We're going to put his telephone number and then also his email address. And so again, we welcome membership. We would love to have you. But in saying that, you don't have to be a part of our military to be a member. If you want to volunteer, again, just give us a call. You'll have a phone number, and we will find something for you to be a part of, because we always have opportunities.
Always. That's how I got involved. Someone at the past chapter president just said, "Hey, could you help me plan a couple of events?" Sure. And that was, I think, back in 2005 or 6, and I've been hanging around ever since. So,
and isn't that how it normally works?
That's exactly how it works. Yes. Someone asked someone to be involved, and it was the best decision that I ever made. I'm so glad, because I knew of AUSA but didn't know about all the opportunities, and so we do. There's always a need for a volunteer, whether you just want to come and help with the golf scramble or be a part of the ceremonies, which is one of my favorites, presenting those awards. There's always a great need for volunteers. So
Absolutely.
I love that. And as we said, Mr. AUSA, Gene is the state president.
He is.
And has been for many years, past chapter president and membership chair. So we'll share his information. You will see it on screen to get in touch with Mr. Gene Gudenkauf, or like we said, go to the website. There's all the information there as well. So just to kind of wrap it up, so we know AUSA has had tremendous impact on this community, whether it's been telling the Army story, doing the ceremonies, helping our students, helping the military spouses and families. There's so many ways that AUSA has really made an impact since 1957. So what do you see the future holding for AUSA?
We have great opportunities in our community. Our community continues to grow. We continue to be a premier installation of the Army. But again, an example of that transformation is with the standing activation of 5th Corps headquarters here. So again, Fort Knox and our soldiers continue to be a part of our community. And so along with that, AUSA will always be a part of our community because we are part of our Army community. And so, again, I just ask people, come and join and be a part of, and show us your support.
It's the easiest thing you'll ever do.
Absolutely.
And one of the greatest things that you'll ever love being a part of. So, like,
and remember, if you're not having fun, you're doing something wrong.
I know. I'm going to tell that to my boss when I get back to work. And he would agree. He's a fun guy. He would agree. So, well, we can't thank you enough for your time and your leadership in and out of the uniform. So thank you for your service to our nation and your continued service. Once a soldier, always a soldier. So thank you for what you do. And we know that AUSA is a fantastic organization and all the great things that you do behind the scenes to take care of our families, our soldiers, our veterans, our retirees, our community at large. So
Absolutely.
We can't say thank you enough. I do hope that more people will get involved. That is your challenge today, to get involved and take part, because we know you love the Army just as much as we do. So join this dynamic organization, because we all know there's power and strength in numbers.
Absolutely.
All right.
Hey, can I hear huh?
Huh.
Huh.
Oh, oh. I was raised right. So I hope you enjoyed today's program. Just visit the AUSA website for more details on how you can be involved and join. We hope that we'll see you at some of the events as the year unfolds. We know that we'll get back to seeing each other in person. So thank you for tuning in to today's episode. I hope you enjoyed it and learned a lot. And we'll see you again next time on Issues and Insights. On behalf of HCEC-TV, I'm Kendra Scott. Hope you have a great Army Day, as my friend always says, and hooah. We'll see you next time.